In the golden haze of a Spanish summer afternoon, where the Mediterranean sun paints the rugged trails of Gandia in hues of amber and olive, a woman stepped into what should have been the next chapter of her hard-won freedom. Esther Estepa, 42 years old, with eyes that sparkled like the sea she loved to chase, and a heart that had just broken free from years of quiet abuse, had packed her bags and set out alone. She was no ordinary traveler. Esther was a nomad soul, sending daily photos and voice notes to her mother, Josefa Pepa Perez, and her tight-knit family back home, proof that she was alive, thriving, reclaiming every sunrise after the storms of her past. Her messages carried laughter, descriptions of winding paths lined with wild rosemary and distant waves crashing against ancient cliffs. But one August day in 2023, those messages stopped, and what followed was a digital nightmare that would expose one of the most chilling predators of our social media age. The man the world now calls the TikTok killer. Esther had arrived in the coastal town of Alicante, checking into a simple hotel where the lobby buzzed with the chatter of fellow wanderers. There, in that ordinary space scented with fresh coffee and salt air, she met Jurado Montilla. He introduced himself as Dinamita, a travel influencer on TikTok whose videos captured sunsets over rocky hillsides, casual hikes through pine forests, and stories of adventure that drew a small but loyal following. Tall, with an easy smile, and the confident stride of someone who knew every trail, Montilla seemed harmless, charming even. He spoke of hidden viewpoints and secret paths that only locals knew. Esther, fresh from escaping a toxic relationship and hungry for connection without chains, accepted his invitation. Together, they hiked for 5 days through Gandia's breathtaking terrain, dusty trails that climbed toward panoramic vistas where the sea met the sky in a perfect blue line. Wildflowers brushing their legs, the warm wind carrying the scent of eucalyptus and earth. They shared stories under the shade of ancient trees, laughed at small mishaps, and documented moments. Photos of Esther smiling wide, her hair tousled by the breeze, standing beside this new companion who promised nothing but good company. On the morning of August 23rd, something shifted. Montilla called paramedics in a panic, claiming Esther had suddenly taken ill during their hike. She was rushed to a nearby hospital, examined, treated, and discharged the very next day. Everything appeared fine. But then the WhatsApp messages began arriving on her family's phones, texts supposedly from Esther herself. They spoke of a sudden decision to start a brand new life in Buenos Aires, Argentina. No explanations, no video calls, no familiar voice, just cold, detached words that felt wrong, like they belonged to a stranger wearing her identity. Pepa read them over and over, her hands trembling. This was not her daughter. Esther had always been the one who called at midnight just to describe a starry sky or send a selfie from a mountain peak. The family's worry turned to dread. They contacted Spanish authorities, filing a missing person report and begging for help to trace her last known steps. As days blurred into weeks, the family turned to the only trail left, the digital one. They scoured TikTok, Instagram, every corner of social media where Esther might have left a footprint. And there, in Montilla's videos, those polished clips of scenic hikes and influencer life, Esther appeared. Photos and short videos surfaced showing her with him, smiling on those same trails, her arm occasionally linked with his in casual camaraderie. Police confirmed he was the last person to see her alive. The family's hearts sank. Who was this man behind the charming online persona? Digging deeper, investigators uncovered a past so dark it seemed ripped from a horror film. Jurado Montilla was no newcomer to violence. In the mid-1980s, between 1985 and 1987, he had terrorized the Malaga region of Spain, committing 4 brutal murders that left families shattered and communities in fear. Convicted and sentenced to nearly 30 years in prison, he had vanished from public view, serving his time in silence. Released in the late 2000s and 10s, he had reinvented himself in the glowing world of TikTok, posting travel content that masked the monster beneath. His videos, once harmless entertainment, now felt like a calculated cover. The investigation intensified. Forensic teams seized Montilla's phone and accounts, uncovering a trove of images and clips that tied him directly to Esther's final hours. Timestamps matching their hikes, locations pinpointed to the exact trails where she was last seen. But the most devastating revelation came in early 2024. Hikers traversing a remote stretch near Gandia stumbled upon a human skull resting along a highway median, half buried in dry grass and scattered stones. DNA testing confirmed it belonged to Esther Estepa. Days later, more remains were recovered from a secluded area nearby, hidden among boulders and overgrown brush where only the wind and occasional wildlife passed. The medical examiner's report was unequivocal: death by severe blunt force trauma to the head. A single savage blow that ended a life full of promise in an instant of unimaginable cruelty. No accident, no voluntary disappearance. This was murder, cold and deliberate. The family's grief poured out in waves. Pippa became a force of quiet fury, appearing in interviews with tears streaming yet voice steady, recounting how Esther had survived one nightmare only to walk unknowingly into another. She was finally free, Pippa would say, her words heavy with the weight of lost tomorrows. She wanted to see the world, not leave it like this. Sisters and friends shared stories of Esther's kindness. The way she would stop to help a stray dog on the trail or send money to a friend in need. Her laughter, they said, could fill a room like sunlight. Now that light was gone, replaced by questions that haunted every night. How did a convicted killer walk free? How did social media, the very tool that connected strangers, become the stage for such deception? Montilla's arrest followed swiftly. Charged with Esther's murder, he sat in custody as evidence mounted. His TikTok account, once a platform for likes and views, now the very thread that unraveled his lies. Videos he had posted, seemingly innocent, contained timestamps and locations that prosecutors used to build an airtight case. The influencer mask had slipped, revealing the serial predator who had killed before and, authorities believed, killed again. This case ripped open larger wounds in society. Spain grappled with questions about parole for violent offenders, the risks of online personas, and how easily trust forms in a world of filtered smiles and shared adventures. Montilla's double life, convicted killer by day in the shadows, charming TikToker by night, exposed the fragility of our digital age. Families across the country watched the news, hugging their loved ones tighter, whispering warnings about strangers who seemed too perfect online. Esther's story became a beacon for vigilance. Check backgrounds, trust instincts, never ignore the silence when messages feel wrong. Her remains were finally laid to rest in a quiet ceremony, surrounded by those who loved her. Flowers placed on a grave that symbolized both loss and the power of persistence. The family's fight had brought her home, turning digital clues into justice. Yet even as the investigation closed one chapter, the pain lingered like the Spanish heat that never quite fades. Pippa and her family channeled their sorrow into advocacy, speaking out about missing persons cases and the dangers lurking behind screens. They sifted through every archived message, every faded photo, piecing together the mosaic of Esther's last days. The joy of those hikes, the trust she placed in a stranger, the final moments that ended in violence. Montilla, once free to roam trails and post videos, now faces the full weight of the law, his fate sealed by the very technology he used to hide. The TikTok killer's reign of deception ended not in dramatic chase, but in quiet, forensic truth. DNA, timestamps, and a mother's unrelenting love. If stories like this, where resilience battles the darkest corners of human nature, and the digital world both betrays and reveals, resonate deep within you, then please subscribe to our channel for more journeys into the truths that shape our world. These tales remind us that behind every vanishing act lies a family fighting for light, and behind every charming facade can hide shadows we must never ignore. Esther Estepa's spirit endures in the warnings we share and the questions we refuse to let die. She hiked toward freedom, and though her path was cut short, her story now lights the way for others to walk more carefully, more aware, more alive to the beauty and peril of the trails we all share. And if this journey through one woman's courage and one killer's unraveling has stirred something in you, the need to stay vigilant, to honor the lost, to seek truth in an age of illusions, then remember to subscribe so we can continue uncovering these real-life mysteries together. In the end, justice may come slowly, but it comes through voices like Peppa's, through evidence pulled from the cloud, and through stories that refuse to stay buried. Esther's legacy is not just her tragic end, but the unbreakable bond of family that turned grief into action, proving that even in the vast scroll of modern life, no soul is ever truly forgotten. The sun still rises over Gandia's trails, the waves still whisper against the shore, and somewhere in that eternal rhythm, Esther's light flickers on, guiding us all to see the monsters hiding in plain sight before it's too late.